7:32, and I'll call our August TID board meeting to order and ask that you stand and join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Good morning again. Welcome. Our full board is with us either in person or by phone. Pat Blaney's joined us by calling in, and the rest of our members are present. Our session today is streaming on the streaming platform, and so any of you that are joining us by that mode or by telephone, welcome. And would recognize that County Commissioner Jeff Benton is also here today. Jeff, welcome. We'll move into the agenda under the chairman's report. I wanted to share with you some events that have happened in the last 4 to 6 weeks legislatively that have a negative impact on our TID. There was an amendment added. I guess you could call it a 23rd hour amendment, a speaker's amendment to originally the COVID-19 relief bill for the state that would remove the ability of transportation improvement districts to do non-prevailing wage contracts. There's an exemption for non-prevailing wage carved out in the original legislation. And the Senate stripped that amendment out, and so the speaker then added it to Senate Bill 4, which is the capital bill that mainly dealt with school funding and school buildings, and but it also included the Ohio Public Works Commission funding for small government or for local government infrastructure projects. So that one did pass, and it was signed by the governor. And so as it stands right now, we've legislatively been, had our wings clipped in terms of our ability to do non-prevailing wage contracts. There are those that are seeking to challenge that legislation, and we'll talk more about that as we get more information about that. I've got our legal counsel, Eric Hostetler, looking into some options there, and we'll talk about that in the future, probably in terms of pending litigation. I may even be calling, once Eric's had a chance to review and comment on that, I may call an executive session for this board, maybe try to do that as a Zoom meeting or call-in platform. But look for that could happen within the next week or so.
Got minutes to approve.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Yeah, I forgot the minutes. Yeah.
Do you anticipate calling a special session to have that discussion?
I'm sorry. Ask again, Pat.
As I said, do you anticipate calling a special session of the TID board to discuss this once Eric's had a chance to review it?
I do. Yes.
All right.
So if there are any other, I don't know if there are any other questions or comments. That's really all I have under Chairman's report. I know Commissioner Benton was active in trying to help turn the ship on that. And I made a lot of calls and talked to a lot of folks, and we tried to we tried to get that stopped, and it clearly had the former speaker's inertia behind it, and it simply got railroaded through. So,
if I could, Chris, there are two major points.
yes, please do.
Jeff Benton, Delaware County Commissioner. As I understand it, the legislation, the theory of contesting this is that there are 2 points. One is it didn't follow the single rule or single subject law, in that they combined this with a completely unrelated bill. And secondly, they didn't hold the required hearings. And so I think the future contesting will be one or both of those principles. So we'll see how it goes forward.
And that's one of the things that I know Jeff and I hammered whoever we could talk to about it was, hey, just give us a chance to attend a hearing and testify on this. Just let us be a part of the process. If you know, I said to a number of legislators, if you decide ultimately to do this, do it with knowing the full story and giving the people who are affected by it a chance to testify. And that didn't happen. And that, wherever you stand on the legislation, the way it happened was just wrong. So I need to back up and approve the minute, item 2. I skipped ahead. I apologize. Thank you for reminding me, Tom. We do have minutes from our May 27th board meeting, and if there are no corrections, motion to approve.
Move to approve. Tom Price, move to approve.
Second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Hope that was an aye for approval, Pat?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, there's a little bit of a delay, so it came across as a nay vote, so I just wanted to make sure. Okay.
Don't want that to happen. Don't want that to happen.
Your Secretary Treasurer's report, please.
The cash balance at the end of July was $11,902,025.54. I also like to report that our audit is complete, and we were issued a clean audit report.
Good. Any questions for Cy? Entertain a motion to accept the Secretary Treasurer's report.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Any updates or anything to share from any of our board members? Staff report. Rob, would you fill us in on all the multitude of things you've got going?
I would. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning. I'll go through the project updates briefly, starting with the home road extension east of 23. If you've been down Route 23 recently, you'll see that road looking very much like a road now. The paving is ongoing, will be for the next several weeks, but we're estimating they're at about 85% completion now. To date, we've paid out about $5.5 million of the $10.8 million contract. Just as a reminder, the TID administrative fee on that project will amount to about $222,000 when it's all said and done. So as of now, we're on track to complete that project in September. So we made really considerable, I should say, Savco made considerable progress in June and July once the weather dried out. They made a lot of really good progress. So back on track on that project, fortunately. Next project, Hyatt's Road in 23. The Shanahan Road portion of that project is largely complete. It still has to have the final asphalt surface course and pavement markings, but essentially that half of the project is done. The crews are still working on the sanitary sewer portion, and that will go really all the way through the fall. We are currently estimating around September 8th, Hyatt's Road, that work will start. That will include widening the road to 3 lanes, adding a left turn lane and a right turn lane at Route 23, And then there's a large culvert under Hyatt's Road that we're constructing large retaining walls for that culvert to accommodate the additional fill. So that work will be ongoing through the fall, estimated completion at the end of November this year. So pretty much on track with that project as well, making pretty good progress right now. So next project, and we'll touch more on this in a moment, but the Riverby Estates project, as you know, that was completed in May. The calculated assessment, or excuse me, the assessments have been calculated as $114.22 per condo unit and $338.75 per single-family unit. Very pleased to report the cost did come in under the contract amount, $429,000. So we were glad to see that. And then just as a reminder, the assessment is calculated as including a 3% interest charge over 20 years. And so that would provide the ongoing cash flows to the TID, including the interest charge to account for the time value of the money. So we can talk more about that in a moment. Next project, Graphics Way Extension. That work is underway right now. We're estimating Strasser Paving is about 75% complete with that work right now. Should be wrapped up probably late this month, perhaps September, but everything is going well there. And then as a reminder, the county commissioners will be, per the memorandum of understanding, the county commissioners will be levying an assessment on the church for 1/2 of the cost of the project, up to a cap amount that I don't have handy, but paying about half the cost of that project. Any questions so far on any of those projects? Sure, Tom.
On the turn lane on Shanahan, there is no turn lane on either Hyatt's or Shanahan coming into 23.
There will be turn lanes. It's currently striped as just one inbound, one outbound lane. Once the final surface course is put on, there will be turn lanes on both sides.
Okay. On the 3% on Riverby, is that compounded interest then yearly?
It is.
And does it reach a certain amount and then it backs off, or it continues?
It continues all the way through the 20 years.
Okay, thank you.
Final project, and we'll be asking for your action on this item in just a moment. The North Road Extension, we've been working on this project for about 1.5 years now, since the Olentangy, the new Olentangy Elementary School was approved via the bond levy last year. Excuse me, that was earlier this year. Anyway, we knew about this project well in advance of that, so we have the plans done, ready to go out to bid. Per the agreement with Metro Development, this first phase will be split in cost. Metro Development will pay for 1/3 of the overall project, not just this phase, but 1/3 of the overall project. And then we are currently working with Evans Farm Land Development Company on a similar agreement to pay for 1/3 of the overall project as well. So I do have good news to report. We were successful in obtaining a $250,000 grant from ODOT through their TID program, so that's great news. Just received notice of that last week. And so basically, we're asking for your approval of the project agreement, which will set forth the contribution by the county commissioners, or basically the deposit by the county commissioners, and then the approval of the plans and specs to go out to bid. So with that, I'd entertain any questions or comments.
I should probably share with all of you, a couple of you may have seen, we have a drone that we take progress pictures of some of the construction, and so some of the drone footage of that project are pretty impressive, and they're doing some night paving, and so we really hadn't taken many night photos with the drone, but it's actually some pretty stunning photography. Yeah, so I'll try to share some of those photos with you, because you deserve to see the work that our board helped facilitate there. It's pretty impressive.
Will this be two motions then?
Well, so that item 7 would be a single motion to certify the assessment for Riverby. And so those would be the monetary assessment amounts that Rob mentioned in his report, based on the actual cost of construction. So is that what you were asking about, Tom?
Yep.
So, yeah, that is one motion. So I'd entertain a motion to move ahead with the certification of the assessments on Riverby.
So moved.
Move.
This is Pat, I'll second.
You're too slow, Pat, sorry. But thank you.
Say aye from now on.
When you hear a long pause, then you can jump in again. All right.
Okay.
We appreciate it, Pat, thank you. Any further discussion on this item?
Who was the motion by? I'm sorry.
By Tom, seconded by
Tom and
Mike.
Mike, thank you.
Hearing no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carried. I take that as an aye in favor of. Thank you. Item 8 would be the project agreement between the TID and the Board of Commissioners for the North Road project that Rob outlined, again, with a developer contribution and another developer contribution for another section of that road currently under discussion. So, and again, also noting the grant through ODOT Jobs and Commerce for that project.
I would also note, echoing the previous discussion by the chairman, the prevailing wage provision that we would have normally included in this contract has to be removed, at least for the moment. So this is, I'll say,
Excuse
a
me, please.
victim of
Did you say about the prevailing wage, Rob?
Speak up, Rob, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so the North Road project, this is a project we would have, I think, ordinarily excluded prevailing wage from. However, due to the recent legislation, we will not be able to do that. And so this is a good example of a project that we will have to bid subject to prevailing wage.
All right, thank you. So there wasn't any, like 90 days before the legislation became effective.
My understanding is that the effective date has passed because it included the OPWC funding and other funding that's made available for other totally unrelated issues. That money has been released, and so it appears the effective date of the legislation is upon us.
So, Mr. Chairman, it probably went through as emergency legislation?
I honestly don't know that, Tom. Okay. Is there a motion to approve this agreement between our board and the Board of Commissioners?
So moved.
Moved by Pat,
Tom Price, second.
Tom seconded. Further discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And our final resolution is for approving the plans and specifications for the North Road project. So taking into account that we've approved the agreement, we're now ready to approve the plans and specs and move forward with getting bids, advertising and receiving bids for the project. Entertain a motion. Mike Fromer, move to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Si seconds. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Is there any other business to come before our board this morning? Summarize, I'll be back in touch if we need to call a special session, and we have a date set for September 9th for our next meeting, which we would anticipate need to have that meeting, that we will have bids to evaluate and maybe award on North Road at that time. If I hear no objection, I will declare us adjourned, and thank you for your time this morning.